So, I saw two separate thumbnails today for this Tier Zoo video. I guess they are both for the same video. I saved it twice because I thought it was a different video.
Got it. So he changed thumbnails at some point.
Yeah, but one was like an anteater attacking like a leopard or something like that. And then one was an anteater preaching to a leopard. And so I was like, bro, this preaching video is about to be lit. Like, who is this? Blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And it's also Tier Zoo. My favorite thing about anteaters is they fuck up ants. And ants are always impressive. They are one of the most impressive insects to ever be created.
Yeah.
Gigantic colonies. And anteaters go, but they have one weakness. You literally can't eat a whole colony. They reproduce too fast. Infinite food glitch.
Every time I think of anteaters, I think of aardvarks. Like I get anteaters and aardvarks confused.
Yeah.
And I couldn't tell you why.
How big is an aardvark?
I don't even know what an aardvark actually is.
I think that's relatable.
For the longest time, I thought aardvarks were fake.
Right.
So.
Well, anteaters are massive. That's the point. I don't know if aardvarks are smaller or bigger either, just as a frame of reference. But anteaters are humongous.
Very large.
Always takes me by surprise, and I don't know why. I just assumed they were small.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like ants are small.
Yeah, ants are small, so anteater, small.
Yeah.
Not the case.
Not even a little bit.
A newborn baby could ride an anteater.
So here we go. Our anteaters OP. Oh, also for my ranking, I go B+. Bro, ants everywhere, forever, in every season.
Yeah.
I think they also might be stupid. Yeah, right.
I don't know.
Exactly.
I've never considered their intelligence level.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Now that I think about it, I think they might be kind of dumb. But let's do it. Let's go! Oh, God! Thought that was real for a second. It's like, why are they fighting like that?
Ants are one of the most overpowered factions in the game.
Yes, they are.
Very true.
Their go-wide-you social strategy is essentially unbeatable, to the point where they control wide swaths of the overworld pretty much uncontested. Even the human build, the undisputed top tier in the current meta, has trouble keeping ants at bay. And with their huge variety of incredible abilities, from acidic projectiles and powerful stingers to coordinated attack strategies and terraforming abilities, I don't think it's much of a surprise that ants are such a meta-defining force. And yet, there's one build which can obliterate an entire colony in only a few minutes, the Anteater. But does having a super favorable matchup against one of the game's top tier builds actually translate into the Anteater being top tier itself? There's so much more to the Anteater build than just being able to solo an entire colony of ants with
Are you sure?
So in today's video, we'll discuss all the abilities and weaknesses of the Anteater build to determine
oh my God.
Anteaters are only playable on the South America server,
I did not know
jungle and savanna biomes. And this is not an easy server to try to carve a niche into. I know I drone on a lot about how OP African builds are, but the Amazon rainforest is home to some of the most fearsome predators in the game.
Absolutely.
Including the snake build with the largest size, and the felid build with the most powerful bite, among many other incredibly dangerous predators. Meanwhile, the Anteater's closest living relative is the sloth, a build with so many devastating flaws that I currently rate it as the mammal furthest down on the tier list.
I'm sorry, but it just feels like he's bullying. bro, leave my boy out of this.
This is what they're talking about when they talk about punching down. Like this is
he's for sure
you,
down.
a human, should not be talking down about fucking sloths, bro.
They're devastatingly useless.
I'm dead.
Oh.
So how is it that the Anteater is able to survive such a hostile metagame? Well, they may be closely related to the pathetic moss-covered slugs that Human Faith builds named one of the 7 deadly sins after, but they're also related to this, Megatherium, the gigantic ground sloth that was capable of one-shotting a saber-tooth. And in my opinion, Anteaters take after this type of sloth.
Okay.
To see what I mean, let's look at their stats. There is some variation among different Anteater builds, which we'll get into later in this video.
Okay.
But for now, we're gonna focus on the giant Anteater. Pulling up the analysis, 2 things jump out right away. The first is their shockingly high HP stat. While they don't have any major form of armor, the Anteater can still shake off a surprising amount of damage, even from attacks that might normally one-shot most players. This is crucial as it allows the anteater a chance to survive ambushes by jaguars.
Interesting.
Which is pretty incredible given that jaguars frequently one-shot crocodilians.
Nice.
But this is also extremely important because it provides an opportunity for the anteater's other surprisingly high stat to become relevant. That stat
He
being
like
their
tail
attack
swipe
power.
him?
Really?
This attack power stat might look like a mistake.
Did he just tackle him and use like his arm? So like that's like a double leg takedown. Dude, I didn't know, like I know it's sped up, but that looked surprisingly agile.
Yeah.
Especially given that anteaters don't even have teeth and are
I
completely
didn't know-
locked
I didn't
out of
know that.
using the move bite. However, once you get past the head and look down, you realize that at the end of their massive
Big-ass
gorilla
claws.
arms, anteaters have pickaxe-shaped claws
For, like,
as
digging.
big as those of a grizzly bear.
Yeah.
Except the anteater's claws are even sharper because they walk on their knuckles to avoid wearing them down.
Interesting.
These incredible weapons are what allow the anteater to tear through the cement-like walls of termite mounds with ease.
You know, he's like that really particular anime character, you know, that wears like a big cloak and you don't really know much about him,
Uh-huh.
but they do everything really creepily. I bet you he talks in like a weird whisper.
Now who's bullying?
I'm just saying, like, you see him walk around like all like, can't get my claws messed up, man. I walk on my
The
knuckles.
anteater walks on his knuckles the same way I have to punch a punching bag.
But they come with the nice side benefit of being able to absolutely eviscerate any
Yeah,
player who
he's
fails to
whooping his
kill
ass.
them in one hit. Their slashes can easily deal lethal damage.
He tried to
Any
kill him.
predator looking to
That's a
ambush an
murdering
anteater needs to make sure they have what it takes to finish the job before the anteater can counterattack.
Hey, he's crazy.
And this threat alone is often enough to dissuade attacks in the first place. While the anteater's matchup with the jaguar is
Oh,
of course
my God.
important, it wouldn't be fair to the anteater player base if I didn't comment on their matchup versus eusocial insect colonies. The anteater's 2-foot-long tongue is covered in a glue-like substance and
I
can
did not
flick
need to
in
see
and out
that.
over 150 times per minute, which
Stop.
can take out dozens of insects per flick and decimate a colony
I'm
in
just
no
broken. Oh, God. Wait a minute. All right. I'm going to back it up a bit. But you need to put a content warning up before you send me that shit.
Am I gonna have to blur that?
Did you see us fucking fighting to try to...
YouTube is gonna like demonetize this video.
I did not know the tongue was the same consistency as those hagfish.
Yeah.
It's the same thing
You know, never mind.
It's a
I'm not gonna
fish.
say what
inside of his mouth.
bro.
Puking up tongue.
This is supposed to be
Fuck.
child-friendly educational
Hell nah,
content. This
bro.
is hentai.
Yeah, this is self-development at its finest. Somebody went, I like that. The percentages don't lie.
While the anteater's matchup with the jaguar is of course important, it wouldn't be fair to the anteater player base if I didn't comment on their matchup versus eusocial
Look at
insect
this
colony.
shit. This is
The
crazy.
anteater's
What
2-foot-long
the
tongue
fuck?
is covered in a
Ew.
glue-like substance and can flick in and out over 150 times per minute, which can take out dozens of insects per flick and decimate
The
a colony
combo
in no
number.
time. However, similar to their sloth brethren, anteaters opted for a slower metabolism. This comes with downsides, which we'll cover later, but it does mean that they don't need to consume an entire colony of ants, and can actually
Right.
leave the colony in a damaged but recoverable state.
Yeah.
Right.
This is a highly sustainable method of farming XP because it
Like you
ensures
said,
that the anteater
infinite food
player
glitch.
can
Yeah,
simply
did people think they ate the entire... Do you know how fucking long that would take?
Well, they could. He mentioned earlier that they
no,
could.
they couldn't.
But the
they can't
point
dig
is,
that far. You know how far down those colonies go?
return to the same termite mound or anthill later on, tear into it again, and the colony will have replenished its
Yeah.
supply of workers enough that they can just do the same thing again. It also means the anteater doesn't need to be at any one colony for very long, which is good because despite how powerful their offensive tools are at destroying a colony of insects, anteaters don't actually have any unique defensive abilities to avoid the damage from the swarm of militant
Eat his
insects they've just
ass up.
provoked, and have to rely solely on their HP to soak up the damage. Of course, as mentioned prior, because of their high HP stat, anteaters are well equipped to tank a lot of hits.
Right.
But the acid attacks launched by termites and ants certainly aren't something they can just ignore
He's
for extended
wiggling them
durations.
off.
The rest of the anteater stats are fairly lackluster. Anteaters aren't as sluggish as sloths, but because of their slow metabolism, they do have a below average movement speed. Given that they've spec'd into massive claws on their forelimbs rather than more mobility favoring options like paws or hooves, I don't think this low speed is too surprising.
It's not.
It's a worthy trade-off in my opinion. Their stealth stat is also middle of the road. They don't stick out as bad as some builds, but aren't the best camouflaged either.
Okay.
The Anteater can hide under its bushy tail,
Oh, that's
disguising
kinda cool.
itself as a bush while also shielding itself from the
That's
cold.
kind of cool.
Fucking stupid ass animal. You dumbass. Go back to this shit, bro.
That's so funny.
It kind of does
It
look
does-
like
like
it's
a
not
little
a
rock or something. Yeah.
But like the fur, though. Hey, it's just a lot of
Maybe
stuff
like-
out there, though.
Maybe like a piece of fallen tree.
So, yeah, I'm
or
gonna say, you know what?
something.
If you're buying a lot of stuff, you would probably
I mean,
walk
you're
past
in
that.
the rainforest, dude. It just
Yeah.
looks like another weird ass thing.
Just walk through the Amazon and be like, it's not hitting me. I'll just walk past. Yeah.
But as far as plant-style disguises go, there are certainly more impressive displays out
I mean,
there.
okay,
The
that's not a
Anteater's
fair
intelligence
comparison.
isn't great either. They'd form quite a formidable force in groups, yet rarely engage in team
He
strategies,
said, get
if
the
ever.
fuck off me.
Their last main weakness is their poor eyesight. It's a good thing they don't go down in one hit, because the tiny eyes on the sides of their heads do not
They
give them the
can't
best
fucking
odds at
see.
I
detecting an
didn't
ambush
think about
before
that
the
at all.
attacker is within striking range.
What?
Next, let's delve into some of the individual variants of the Anteater.
Okay.
The giant Anteater is by far the most powerful,
That's the only one
at
I
the
thought there
cost
was.
of its mobility. The giant Anteater is the only variant
Big as
that lacks the
fuck.
ability to climb trees.
Wait.
Despite their claws being
What?
phenomenal for hooking into trees, giant anteaters simply are too cumbersome to venture into the
They're
canopy.
too
There are
big.
two other variants
didn't
of
know
the
that.
Anteater build, and both variants are much better at climbing.
Okay.
First is the Tamandua. This mid-sized Anteater sports a
That's
slightly
the one
lower
that's
base.
in the. He's always like this. You know?
Yeah, like,
come at me,
he's
bro.
talking
Let's
shit.
go.
I thought that was just a baby giant anteater.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Right? I didn't
Yeah.
know there were other types. I was like, oh, it's just a
That makes
baby
sense, though.
anteater.
That makes sense.
And they climb, then they get
Yeah.
big, and then they don't need to climb. Yeah.
climbing.
These guys
First
always
is
look
the
so
Tamandua.
aggressive.
He's like,
This
yeah, I'll beat your
mid-sized
ass.
anteater sports a slightly lower base power and hit point stat than the giant anteater,
Mm-hmm.
but in
fighting.
exchange, it has unlocked a powerful new ability, a prehensile tail.
Yeah!
This perk allows the user to use its tail essentially as a fifth appendage,
fucking cool.
granting it additional resistance to being knocked down while browsing high up in the treetops.
That's
Because
cool.
of its lower HP stat, this build can't tank acid damage as well as the giant
Mm-hmm.
anteater, and so it needs to avoid high-tier ant builds like the leafcutter ant. The final
Okay.
variant is the pygmy anteater,
Oh,
a
I didn't
nocturnal
know
build
this.
that
So
invests
small.
more
Yeah.
into its stealth and other stats,
Is he a nocturnal?
drastically cutting
I
its
think so.
bulk and damage in turn. In my opinion, the pygmy anteater is a bit too similar to the sloth build for me to
Damn.
consider it competitively viable, but
Disrespect.
to each their own. Although the ability to climb does come in handy for escaping predators,
Look
the
at
giant
him, so
anteater doesn't
cute.
seem to miss it much. While the other variants need to worry about attacks from eagles,
Ooh.
the giant anteater's
That
bulk
was
is enough
crazy.
to protect it from most threats. Its matchup versus the jaguar is still pretty risky, but it's better than most. So I'm gonna give the giant anteater a rating of A tier, while the
Wow!
Tamandua gets a rank of B tier, and the pygmy anteater gets a D
You
tier.
mother.
Damn.
You know what, Tirzu? Sometimes you got real hater energy.
Yeah.
Okay? Sometimes you be showing your prejudice. Okay?
He doesn't-
Because
give-
maybe the pygmy anteater isn't necessarily the smartest or the
Necessarily.
fastest, okay? But what
able
you
to
didn't
survive.
take into account and what you never take into account is that he's cute.
Yeah. I was getting ready to say, he never gives extra points for cuteness. or looks.
Never.
Can-
Style points exist. Have you ever played Devil May Cry?
Yeah, like, we have like a tier list? Can we just have like a fashion list? Or like okay, here, how about this? Let's consider this for the next video.
Okay.
Would look cutest in a small top hat,
Oh.
right?
Oh, man.
You know what I'm saying? Giant anteater
I
would
feel
look
like-
terrifying in a small top hat.
Right. Yeah. It would look like a person.
It would look like a grown man
Yeah.
with the top
But like
hat on.
the pygmy would be so cute.
You know? So I'm just saying,
Adorable.
you hate cheetahs also, but imagine top hat.
Imagine. Oh,
Little top
okay,
hat.
Top hat. Let me raise you.
Yeah.
Party hat.
Or a party
The
hat.
little party hat. That would be
Who-
so cute.
Who would be the cutest to have at your birthday party? Okay? Little party hat on top. Okay? Let's do that list as well. Because this is depressing me. He's like this useless. He barely eats. I don't even know how they're still alive. Their whole lineage is probably at risk right now as I speak.
speak.
So we like the unbiased nature of these videos. We really do. We enjoy them a lot. And it's fun because that's not how I understand animals. I understand
Yeah.
them in terms of usefulness to my entertainment.
Right. Yeah.
But thank you, Tirzu, doing a great way to teach us more things about things that we didn't know things about.
What did you just say?
Teaching me things about things.
That I didn't know, that I didn't know. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
It makes sense when you slow it down.
It makes
Look,
sense.
I'm blonde right now, so I'm a little slow. You know.
I've been doing it all of my life. I trust myself that it makes sense. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Thanks for this video.
Hopefully there is another one. Oh, you're welcome for the video.
I'm not talking
made
to
it
you.
myself.
I'm talking to Tearsu. This was a great birthday gift from you to us for your birthday.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Excellent birthday gift giving.
Sure thing.
To us.
So we just did a video, unusual, deadly, what the fuck was that video? We just did a video with Casual Geographic about animals dying
animal
slowly
diseases.
to
Yeah.
terrible diseases.
Yeah.
And then before that was a video of CJ the Champ, Azula. Oh, you've already seen that, so no point in talking about that one. We got some more vids coming up later on, so make sure you guys tune in for that as well. We'll see y'all around. Peace.
Peace out. Snitches.
Okay.